Okay, hi, Mrs. Brown. Thank you for joining me today.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and your background and what made you get into real estate.
So my background, sorry, my printer is making a lot of noise right now, but so my background is in training and development in the retail space. I have over 15 years experience there. But I started flipping houses in 2018 with my dad, and I just fell in love with real estate from there, in all facets. And so I thought I'll go ahead and get my license. And so I did that late last year, uh, got my license, and then joined EXP earlier this year in January. And it has been a wonderful process of learning and meeting clients, taking care of them. And it's been great. And so now I'm really focusing in on servicing veteran clients. So serving those who have served, it's a passion of mine to take care of them. My husband is a veteran, so I am a veteran spouse. And I just find that I'm meeting a lot of veterans who are not taking advantage of all the benefits available to them, and are so they feel like they can't experience home ownership. And so I want to take on the mission of helping as many veterans as possible become homeowners.
Oh, that's awesome. You kind of broke up there a little bit when you said you got in business with your father and then you got into real estate. Can you repeat that part again?
Sure. So I started flipping houses in 2018 with my father, and I just fell in love with real estate from there in the process. And so then I decided to go ahead and get my realtor's license.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So you still do some flipping with your father?
So not as of right now. He's got some properties that he's working on for himself in Oklahoma. And so we've taken a break here in Texas, but we're definitely looking to get back into that as well as start acquiring more rental properties.
Nice. Bye. So what made you join EXP? Were you with another brokerage before EXP or is EXP your first brokerage?
Well, EXP was my first choice. I did entertain a few others as far as interviewing, but EXP just kind of encompassed everything that I was looking for. They're very investor friendly. They have a lot of their agents are investors as well. So coming into that community, and then the it being a cloud brokerage, feeling like I could have connectivity to my brokerage no matter what city I was in, no matter what state, and really not no matter what country I'm in, I can have connectivity to my brokerage and make money different ways, and help people in the process. So I'm available through my brokerage to be able to assist others. And then the training as well as the access, I can pop into the world and get that training and experience at any time. It could be 2 o'clock in the morning. And if I'm like, oh, I got a question, I can pop into the world. I can pop into workplace, all different kinds of formats to access information real time.
Yes, the same thing with me. I interviewed a couple of other ones before I joined EXP 5 years ago, but I decided EXP was more in line with the way I wanted to do business, cloud-based technology, access at your fingertips. So I'm the same way. Good. So let's go hop into the VA loans, demystified. So some of the things, a little bit about me. I'm with CTC Me Mortgage, and I'm also a realtor with EXP. And we can help your veterans get a VA loan. Oh, let me see if I can get this to advance. Uh-oh, let's see, technology. I
Little
can get,
technology.
I can get it to advance. Um, I got it on presentation view. Can you hear the button? See if I hit return with that. Nope. Well, I'm glad this is being recorded and not live. Oh,
Is the tab's not working?
so it is a big lag. My goodness. It is a big lag.
There we
Yeah, I
go.
might have to go back into presenter mode. Let's see. I'll do that. I'm hitting,
Who is eligible for a VA loan?
I know, but if I can't advance it past that, I'm hitting all the buttons. Let's see. Let's see. It's not what I want. All right, let's see. What do I do? How did that get all the way? Look, it went all the way to the end. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
no. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So it is advancing. It's just slowly advancing. Okay. There we go. So back on the, okay, I see the first page now.
Okay, I'm gonna hit it one time and then I'm gonna wait and not hit it anymore. I'm gonna be doing a lot of editing on this thing, I see. I hit it.
Nope. And it's in, let's see.
Let's see. Escape. So that took it all the way back to my screen. It went all the way back here.
Okay. And you
I
did
just,
slideshow?
yeah, I just didn't want to have all of that up there, you know? So
Right.
I'll start slideshow. Got good Wi-Fi. I'm on the right one. Well, it just might have to be there. Let me see if it'll work from here. I can just hit it and go down. See, it's not even doing that. There we go. Okay. Okay. So a little bit about me. I have you can hit this link, linktree.Vanda and get all of my links. I do have a YouTube channel. I'm on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And then of course I have a YouTube, I mentioned YouTube channel, and then my website is www.vandacrossley.com. So a little bit about the VA loans. We service those who bravely served in the armed forces. Thank you and your husband and your father for serving in the military. So I looked up the loan maximums. Right now, they can do 2 million with the FICO score of 580 plus. There are some lenders that may go down below 580. We just have to, it's just different lenders have different overlays. And then if you're in Hawaii and Alaska, you can get a loan for up to $3 million, $142,800 for 4 units. So one of the things that I know some of the veterans have a question about is if they can get investment property. And the answer is yes, but they do need to live in one of those units. But you can get them, and in Hawaii and Alaska, they're a bit higher.
So they can get that multifamily and be able to, like you said, be able to live in, they have to live in one, but be able to rent the rest out.
Exactly. Which is a very good thing because you can use that for income property, income generating.
Exactly.
So one of the myths is that your offer won't get accepted with VA financing. I've heard a lot of people say that even with FHA financing. And it is true that some sellers may think that because they have to go through multiple hoops that they won't get qualified, but it's just as competitive as any other loan. And it's up to us realtors to also educate the sellers about the various loan types and to honor those veterans who have served and now they're looking to be a homeowner. So VA loans are accepted just as often as any other conventional loans. Have you heard that as
Absolutely,
well?
absolutely. Yes, yes. So a lot of realtors and sellers just have that misconception that the VA loan is just so much work. And even that sellers will have to pay this astronomical amount for accepting because they've accepted a VA loan. They'll have to make a large contribution to that VA's closing cost, and that's just not true. So it's just about getting out there and having that conversation that no, your offer can be very competitive, actually. And they have more solidified because of the process that a VA loan is going through. And so they can have the assurance that everything is in good order and that this buyer is ready to buy.
Right. Some of the things that they also talk about is that the requirements are too strict. So the requirements like with VA and with FHA is that the home is functional. So you have to qualify as if um, you are getting a conventional loan in essence, because you still have to have income to be able to pay for your loan, and you have to have a minimum credit score. And that does vary. Typically, it's 580, but there are some that can make it, a little bit less. And you still have to have some money. You don't need to make a down payment, and you're not subject to private mortgage insurance, but you can't be flat out broke and try to buy a house. And that's I heard people saying that, I don't have any money. Well, if you don't have any money, you can't buy a house, but you need to have some money. You still want to get your house inspected. You still want to have money in the bank for incidentals that may come up. So it's just as strict as any other buying or financing of a home. You have any insight on that?
Yeah. So definitely the credit score, the VA doesn't have that limit, but the lender may, which just opens it up. But also being able to purchase and make sure you have that closing costs. And like you mentioned, inspection costs, paying for your option period and things like that, which in the grand scheme of things are nominal costs, maybe $1,000 or less to cover those things. But you also have to have earnest money deposit. And again, like I stated, those closing costs. So you do have to factor those things in. Are there ways to minimize those costs through seller concessions or through some down payment assistance programs? Yes, but you shouldn't be relying on those in order to get the deal done. You should still have some savings in place in order to move forward.
Right. And so since there's not a down payment requirement, the VA has what they call a funding fee. And that cost is between 1.4 and 3.6% of the loan amount. But if you are a disabled veteran, you're exempt from having to pay the funding fee.
Yeah.
So I thought that's pretty neat too.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. So one of the other myths is I need to have excellent credit. And this is not true. The VA does not have a minimum credit score requirement. So you can qualify for the VA loan, even if your credit is not perfect. But having good credit will help you get the best interest rate on your VA loan. And as we mentioned, there are some lenders that you don't have to have that minimum. But
Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, Vanda, but the DTI is a factor there. They still consider the debt to income ratio. I believe it's is it 70%, 70 to 75%? So it's a lot higher with the VA loan, right?
And then another myth is that you can only use the VA loan once, and that's not true. You can use the VA loan multiple times throughout your lifetime, as long as you still meet the eligibility requirements. So I've heard of one family who goes everywhere they go, they purchase a home, and then when they leave, they use that as a rental home, and then they buy another home with their VA benefits. So they're gaining income property every place of their station. Have you heard of people doing that?
Yes, yes, that's the great way to do it. And so that's one of those, like, if I knew then what I know now, we definitely would have taken advantage of that. But yeah, so you can do that. And it's basically through the reinstatement of your entitlement. So once you are ready to repurchase again, you'll just turn in your certificate of eligibility and make sure whatever entitlement you can get restored. And then they'll figure out the difference between the amount that you're eligible for and what the home that you were living in, whatever mortgage balance that has, and they'll determine the difference for your next purchase. And so you can just keep chugging along and acquiring those properties as such.
Yeah, I wish we had known that years ago as well, but we just don't know. But with this age of technology and information, boy, we're getting the word out to people. So, a veteran, please share this information with them so that they don't get old like me and don't know and find out later on, darn, I wish I had done that. I wish I had done that.
Yes, yes, it's a way to increase income.
Mhm. Another myth is that the process takes too long. So I don't know what too long is, but typically to close on a home, it takes about 30 to 45 days, no matter what, unless you're paying cash and you got the money and titles and can get you the information in 5 to 10 days. But with any loan process, the minimum is usually about 30 days. Now, I have heard of some lenders doing things in 14 days, but that's just kind of putting a rush on things, but it takes time to go through all these documents, get your approvals, get your DD 214 and things like that in, and your entitlement. So the average time frame of it is about 30 to 45 days. Have you heard anything different than that?
Oh, that's it. 30 to 45 days. And again, that's, like you said, very comparable to what the other loans processes as well. So it's no different. You can sometimes even get sooner closings. But again, it's not something that you rely on. 30, 45 days is still very competitive and advantageous for sellers and buyers, especially in this climate where a lot of deals can fall through because of financing. With the VA process and the VA loan that um, you're probably going to get to the closing table and you can have that assurance.
Yeah, and one advantage is, there are a lot of veterans that have these low paying interest rates right now, and sometimes they can be assumed with another veteran. So that's another way to go.
Yes.
So a lot of times people think that you have to go through the VA to get the loan, and that's actually not true. The VA is the one who guarantees the loan, but the loan comes through a lender. And then another myth is that you can only buy a single family home. And as I mentioned earlier, you can buy multi-family homes. So you can buy a single home, you can buy a condo, um, you can buy a manufactured home, and you can use a VA loan to buy a home that needs repairs, as long as the repairs don't exceed 10% of the purchase price. So it's like with FHA, they have the FHA rehab loan. You can buy a home with FHA that needs some rehabbing, but it can't be like a total gut on it. But you can take out, paint, you replace carpeting, floors, things like that you want to upgrade the house with, and they will give you extra money to do that within your loan.
Exactly.
Let's see. So on here, they have the VA has no specified dollar amount for the maximum loan, but in the first screen, I think we had that it was $2 million for the maximum loan, or it's 3 million if you're in Hawaii or Alaska. There's no down payment required by VA unless the purchase price exceeds the reasonable value of the property or the loan is a graduated payment mortgage. And the lender may require a down payment if necessary to meet secondary market requirements. The veteran must certify that he or she intends to personally occupy the property as his or her own home. Investment property is not allowed unless you intend to stay in part of it. For example, duplex, triplex, fourplex. You're going to stay in one, you rent the other ones out, have them pay the mortgage, you're good to go. And for purchases, the manufactured home and land must be purchased at the same time in one purchase agreement. So you can't buy the land and then put a manufactured home on it. You have to buy them together.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with refinancing. The manufactured home and the land must be fixed prior to the close and owned by the borrower.
And that's just pertaining to the manufactured homes. If you're buying land through the Veterans Land Board or anywhere else, you can do a single family home or structure on it into separately, buy the land first and then do the home later, but specifically to manufactured homes. That's the process.
And you have to have a certificate of eligibility. As we mentioned, there's a funding fee. The veteran must pay the funding fee that helps defray the cost of the VA home loan program. Find the percentage appropriate to the veteran's particular circumstances on the funding fee table. I have to put the funding fee table up here. Apply this percentage to the loan amount to arrive at the funding fee. The funding fee may always be financed in the loan. So that is an option as well. As I mentioned before, the funding fee is, I think, goes up to between 1.4 and 3.5%.
And it's waived for disabled veterans.
And it's waived for disabled veterans. So these are the property requirements. It has to be clean and sanitary water supply, have a functioning heating and cooling system. You just can't go in there and get a raggedy house. It has to have adequate plumbing and be accessible. Property will be appraised by a VA-approved appraiser. The appraiser will inspect the property and determine whether it meets the VA standards. If the property does not meet the VA standards, the lender may not be able to approve the loan. The VA may also require the seller to make repairs to the property before the loan can be approved. So those would be lender required repairs.
Right, right. And when people talk about that, they talk about, oh, the appraiser is going to come in. The VA appraisers are so tough, and it really isn't that bad. Like, it really isn't. The home really has to be unlivable in order to not pass the appraisal or not appraise high enough for the listing. So that's not anything to be afraid of.
Closing costs. Those payable by the veterans are limited by regulation to a specific list of items plus the 1% flat charge by the lender. So lenders, of course, they have to get paid and they do charge 1% flat fee. Any other party, including the seller, can help the cost on behalf of the veteran. I've had that happen. I've had one veteran to sell a house to another veteran, and he basically just kind of let him lowball him and gave him like a gift of equity.
Nice.
Yeah. And let's see, the application process, you can go to my website and start the application process. The eligibility means a veteran meets basic certain criteria of length of service and the character of service. So you can't have just been in the military for 2 weeks and then you left or got dishonorably discharged. there's an entitlement that you served a certain amount of time or during certain periods, and that makes you eligible. So you also have to meet certain credit and income standards in order to qualify for the VA guaranteed loan. So the certification of eligibility is issued by Webley, and it's the proof of eligibility for the lender. And I have the link here. And I'll just click it and you can see where that goes to. Oh, I'm having technical
Also,
difficulties.
right? While it's loading, to talk about the certificate of eligibility, and if you have been dishonorably discharged, there are certain conditions where that dishonorable can be overturned. Not for everybody, but there are certain conditions now where they're going back and saying, hey, if you were dishonorably discharged for this, then we're going to go ahead and make it I forget what it's called. But it will overturn that dishonorable discharge and allow you access to some veteran benefits.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Is
If
that
because it was things, namely the main one is like PTSD. And so some people were dishonorably discharged for that, and they're going back and saying, after review, because before it was something that was kind of like, we don't really know what this is, and so they're just making good on that and saying, hey, we understand that this was a condition that you had. And so they're going to go ahead and overturn that. There is a filing process, but it is something to look into.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. I have to look into that. So this is the site that you would go to sign in and register for your new account to start that process.
Perfect.
Any other questions?
No, from the lender side, I think you answered everything and covered a lot of the myths that are out there regarding VA loans, and just opening it up to people so that they have access. Um, and access to the information, but as well as not feeling like they can't apply. So if you are a veteran and you are looking for home ownership, realtor, lender, we are available to work with you to serve those who have served and take good care of you, because we want to see more veterans in homes.
And your contact information?
You can call me at 281-215-3307, or you can email me at janila.brown@exprealty.com. That's Janila, JANILA.brown@exprealty.com. Or find me on my website, janilabrown.exprealty.com.
Thank you.
And all social media is RE with Janila B.
E with Janila B. I like that.
Yes. So thank you, thank you, thank you for demystifying the VA loan for us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. And do you have a YouTube channel by any chance?
I do. This will be my first video on the YouTube channel. RE with Janila B.
All right. We'll be following you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna just stop the share and the recording. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Where is the recording at? Recordings. Oh.